there are only two black Supreme Court justices on the United States Supreme Court: Clarence Thomas and Ketanji Brown Jackson. Now, Clarence Thomas, who is now a justice, and he's been there for over 20 years, I think, he used affirmative action to get to where he is today, every step of the way. But once he reached a certain status as a so-called conservative on the Supreme Court, every ruling that he's ever made has been against black people. So he has significantly agreed with all of the others, with the exception of now Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, who, after a contentious battle before the Senate Judiciary Committee, was finally approved to serve on the Supreme Court. Well, said all that to say this. Since the affirmative action case was brought before the Supreme Court by who? You got to hear this article. What group of people? Asian Americans. They protested that they were being discriminated against unfairly. According to an article, as reported by NBC News, quote, MIT's black student enrollment drops significantly after Supreme Court affirmative action ruling. The university's white and Asian American student populations have increased, while all others have declined, some even down to zero, according to MIT. Enrollment for Black and Latino students dropped at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology in the first class formed after the Supreme Court found race-conscious admissions in colleges unconstitutional. The university's admission department on Wednesday released its first-year class profile, showing a sharp drop in its black student population. About 5% of MIT's incoming class of 2028 is black, a significant drop from its 13% average in recent years. Latino students make up 11% of the class of 2028, compared to a 15% average in recent years. Overall, 1,102 students make up the incoming class. Stu Schmill, MIT's Dean of Admissions, attributed the drop to the High Court's 2023 decision to end consideration of race in the admission process. Why did affirmative action even have to be brought into the equation? It's simple: because race discrimination was used against black people all across the board. And this is what a lot of people don't understand. You have to really pay attention and read to the fine print of everything that's being said. Don't just concentrate on the presidential election. There are senators, their seats are up for grabs. Congressmen, their seats are up for grabs. State representatives, their seats are up for grabs. You got to check it out for yourself. Because if individuals don't pay attention and do their own homework, they're going to find out that the big crybabies on the so-called right, the Republican side, they're always hollering that white people are being discriminated against. Really? White folk have never been discriminated against in this nation. Never. And whether folks like it or not, I'm going to be a voice, especially as a criminal defense attorney. So y'all better get ready. Like it or not, T.B. Bowman is coming. Now check this out, getting back to the article. We expected that this would result in fewer students from historically underrepresented racial and ethnic groups enrolling at MIT, Schmill said of the ruling. That's what has happened. The white and Asian American student population have increased. That's what the ruling was intended to do. Discourage and discriminate against black people and make sure that white people and Asian Americans were enrolled. While all other groups have declined, some even down to zero, the profile shows. In recent years, Black, Latino, Native American, and Pacific Islander students have accounted for 25% of MIT's enrolling undergraduate classes, the university said. That number has declined to about 16% for the incoming class of 2028. The profile marks the first time a selective university has released its freshman class statistics since the ruling. The High Court's ruling struck down affirmative action programs at the University of North Carolina and Harvard, with far-reaching consequences for other public universities. The court ruled that the school's affirmative action programs violated, listen to this garbage, the Equal Protection Clause of the Constitution and are therefore unlawful. Just because the Supreme Court makes a decision, that doesn't make it right. They're the ones who allowed slavery to take place in this nation. Didn't make it right. Although the ruling bars schools from using race as a factor in admissions, pure BS, prospective students can still share their racial or ethnic backgrounds through application materials like essays and personal statements and through their extracurricular activities. Officials with MIT's admissions department did not immediately respond to a request for comment from ABC News. Last year, ahead of the ruling, Schmiel predicted the drop in student body diversity in a blog post. But my question is, and this is what I understand, why do black folk want to go to these all-white race-based universities anyway? Why? You already know they're going to discriminate against you. You already know that the professors are all going to be white. You already know that they don't care anything about our struggle, our battle, and our history. So last year, ahead of the ruling, Schmiel predicted the drop in student body diversity in a blog post. The university was among several schools and institutions that submitted an amicus brief to the court in support for race-conscious admissions. Wow. The university submitted an amicus brief to the Supreme Court in support for race-conscious admissions. If the court rules in a way that constrains how universities may compose their communities, our commitments to the pursuit of diversity that advances MIT's education will not waver, but our ability to achieve it will change potentially dramatically, blah, 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 yada, 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 more garbage. In the wake of the decision, MIT said it expanded its recruitment and financial aid initiatives that prioritize low-income students from all backgrounds. Black folk don't even need to apply there. Don't waste your time. Let me tell you something about this young black generation. You all better stop sitting back being so passive about everything. Your passivity is what's going to cause you to lose out. Being passive is the reason why in corporate America, these white racist CEOs think they can talk down to black people, especially educated black people, think they can talk down to them and think they will put up with their BS and their crap for a paycheck. Not going to happen. We have the right to be entrepreneurs. We have the right to go to any school we choose to. We have the right to live anywhere we want to in this nation. We have the right to work anywhere without racism being a factor and bigotry being a factor. I meet a lot of people all the time and they're blind. They don't know anything about the Constitution. Many of our young black brothers and sisters don't know anything about the civil rights struggle. They think they're on par and equal with everybody. And by the time I finish with them, they are consciously awakened as to who they really are. Stop playing games. Schmiel said that in accordance with the new law, the university does not consider race in its missions. That's a lie, but looks for diversity through prospective fields of study and areas of rich extracurricular activities and accomplishments, as well as economic, geographic, and educational backgrounds. That's just like a lot of these white racist evangelicals who have these all-white churches and ministries limit black people from working for their organizations. They limit black people. All they want black folk to do is sing and give them money. That's all they care about. And if they do have any black people, it's always one token black that sounds whiter than they do, who's going to agree with everything that the founder of whatever religious organization found it. That's why black men have left white Christianity by the millions and millions, and we're going to continue to do so. Never surrender, never quit.